Ever wondered what happens when celebrities push the limits of fame right into the animal kingdom? Sometimes, a bit too much arrogance or sheer recklessness lands even the most famous among us in unforgettable and humbling encounters with Mother Nature. From ancient kings to modern-day daredevils, these folks learned the hard way that wild animals don't care about fame or fortune. Here's a wild list of legendary figures whose run-ins with nature went from brave stupidity to body bags. Buckle up, it's a safari through some of the strangest celebrity fates imaginable. At number 1, Steve Irwin, the beloved crocodile hunter, met a tragic and unexpected end on September 4th, 2006, while filming a documentary off the coast of Port Douglas in Australia's Great Barrier Reef. Known for his fearless approach to wildlife, Steve had encountered countless dangerous animals over the years, earning worldwide fame as a rugged, thrill-seeking conservationist with a natural talent for captivating audiences. That day, Steve was filming for a new series, Ocean's Deadliest, hoping to showcase the creatures that call the ocean home, alongside marine biologist Philippe Cousteau Jr. Conditions weren't ideal for diving into deep waters due to choppy weather, so they chose a different approach. Steve decided to film some shallow reef shots with a stingray, a typically non-aggressive animal. As the cameras rolled, Steve hovered above the nearly 7-foot-wide stingray, a creature he had no reason to fear, considering his extensive experience with dangerous animals. But as Steve swam above the ray, it unexpectedly felt trapped and lashed out. In a split second, the stingray's barbed tail pierced Steve's chest with deadly precision, puncturing his heart. The barb's serrated edge inflicted a fatal wound, and although Steve initially thought he'd just received a bad sting, he quickly realized the severity of his injuries. His cameraman, who filmed the entire encounter, later reported that Steve's last words were, "I'm dying." Though his team rushed to pull him from the water and applied first aid, Steve's injuries were too severe. Despite their efforts, he passed away on the boat before they reached shore. At number 2, Christopher Reeve, the actor who famously embodied Superman, faced a tragic turn in his life long before his death. On May 27, 1995, Reeve was competing in an equestrian event in Culpeper, Virginia. As he approached a jump, his horse suddenly stopped, throwing Reeve forward with immense force. Reeve's hands caught on the reins, and he was unable to break his fall. He landed headfirst on the other side of the jump. The impact shattered his first and second vertebrae, effectively paralyzing him from the neck down. This event marked the beginning of Reeve's transformation from a Hollywood icon to a global symbol of resilience. Following the accident, Reeve was placed on life support and went through extensive surgeries and therapies to stabilize his condition, but his injuries were severe, leaving him quadriplegic. Over the years, Reeve faced numerous health challenges and complications, including frequent infections and bed sores that further impacted his condition. Despite the constant medical battles, Reeve became an advocate for spinal cord research, famously testifying before Congress and inspiring countless people with his determination and positive outlook. But by October 2004, his health had severely deteriorated. He developed a serious infection from a pressure wound, which led to a systemic condition known as sepsis. On October 9, 2004, after cheering on his son Will at a hockey game, he suddenly went into cardiac arrest due to a reaction to an antibiotic he was given to treat the infection. Although he was stabilized initially, Reeve fell into a coma, and tragically, he passed away the next day at age 52. His passing marked the end of an era for a man who had redefined heroism both on and off the screen, leaving behind a legacy that continues to inspire hope in the face of adversity. Timothy Treadwell's final days were spent in the rugged, remote wilderness of Alaska's Katmai National Park, where he had spent 13 summers studying and filming grizzly bears. Passionate yet controversial, Treadwell saw himself as a protector of these animals, believing his connection with them was special enough to keep him safe. But by late September 2003, the end of bear season was near, and many of the animals were preparing for hibernation. With scarce food available, the grizzlies were more unpredictable and aggressive. Treadwell, joined by his girlfriend Amy Huguenard, had planned to leave the park earlier but decided to extend their stay, hoping for one last close encounter with the bears. On the night of October 5th, the couple set up their tent near a popular bear trail, a move that concerned Treadwell's friends and colleagues who were aware of the heightened risks during this time of year. That night, Treadwell recorded several audio entries expressing frustration with the approaching winter and the lack of bear activity. But in the early hours of October 6th, tragedy struck when an aggressive, unfamiliar bear entered the camp. The chilling final moments of the encounter were partially captured on an audio recording as Treadwell and Huguenard attempted to fend off the massive animal. Despite Treadwell's experience and deep knowledge of bear behavior, he and Huguenard were attacked and fatally mauled by the grizzly. The scene of the attack was later discovered by a pilot who arrived to pick them up, finding evidence of the violent struggle that had taken place. Tragically, the incident highlighted the unpredictable nature of wildlife and the risks Treadwell knowingly embraced for his cause. His story, immortalized in the documentary Grizzly Man, continues to evoke a mix of admiration, horror, and debate over the limits of human interaction with nature's most powerful creatures. On January 25, 1998, Tom and Eileen Lonergan set off on what was supposed to be a memorable diving expedition at the Great Barrier Reef, joining a group organized by the Outer Edge Dive Company. They were seasoned travelers, having spent years on humanitarian missions with the Peace Corps, and were both experienced divers. The day started like any other, with bright, sunny skies and a bustling dive boat heading out to the reef. However, in a tragic twist of fate, a critical error by the dive crew led to Tom and Eileen being left behind in open water, 40 miles from shore, while the boat returned to land without them. The couple had been enjoying their dive, unaware that the rest of the group was boarding to depart due to a miscount taken by the crew. As the day faded into night, the Lonergans surfaced to an empty horizon with no signs of the boat or any rescue in sight. With nothing but the vast expanse of the ocean surrounding them, Tom and Eileen faced hours of solitude, likely waiting for someone to realize the oversight and send a rescue. Unfortunately, it wasn't until 2 days later that their absence was noticed when their belongings were found untouched on the boat. A massive search was launched, but by then, any chance of survival was slim. Although their bodies were never recovered, a diver's slate was later found that likely belonged to them, inscribed with a haunting message indicating they were abandoned and were struggling to survive. Their tragic story remains one of the most harrowing examples of human error and the unforgiving power of the sea, a grim reminder of the dangers of complacency and the sheer isolation that can exist within nature's boundless reach. But the most terrifying part was the theory that they were eaten by orcas, as their bodies were never found, which is extremely rare for sinkers. Those last moments in their lives must have been terrifying. Cleopatra's death is one of the most dramatic endings in ancient history. After years of ruling Egypt and aligning herself with powerful Roman figures like Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, Cleopatra found herself in a dangerous position. Following the defeat of Antony's forces by Octavian, who would later become the Emperor Augustus, Cleopatra faced a grim future. Octavian planned to parade her through Rome as a war prize, stripping her of dignity and power, a fate Cleopatra couldn't bear. So, rather than suffer such humiliation, Cleopatra decided to end her life on her own terms. She dressed herself in her finest royal attire and prepared her chamber for the final act. According to most historical accounts, she had a small, deadly Egyptian cobra, known as an asp, smuggled into her room. She let the snake bite her, choosing this slow and symbolic way to die as an act of defiance. When Octavian's soldiers arrived, they found Cleopatra already dead, with her two loyal handmaidens, Iris and Charmian, beside her. Her death marked the end of Egypt's independence, as it became a province of Rome. Cleopatra's dramatic choice to control her own fate has made her story one of resilience and pride in the face of defeat. We'd love to hear what you guys think of all these tragic deaths. Don't forget to subscribe, as we will be doing a part 2 on this series. Subscribe and stay tuned to not miss the next episode.